So there's a strange kind of brotherhood, one that is forged in Dr. Phil appearances, whereas you can see each other as somebody who has shown up and have that shared experience and talk about it. That's one of the reasons why me and Goose Wayne, the My Boyfriend Won't Stop Being Batman, Dr. Phil guest, made fast friends. And I love Goose Wayne. He's incredible. I guess now he's called Crypto Batman. I have a feeling that the latest Dr. Phil guest and I are not going to be friends. Probably because he has me blocked. He doesn't have me blocked on this one account that I have here, so we'll be able to see some of his reactions to his appearance. But this is James Lindsay. Now, James Lindsay is basically now one of the critical race theory guys. And he has managed to carve out for himself quite a impressive public profile by instilling a panic akin to the same as like satanic panic that critical race theory is coming for you and your children to make you feel bad for being white, which is totally a thing that is happening. Not even remotely close. But so did I go on Dr. Phil for being a recovering corn member? Recovering? Look, I have to put on the fake dreads every time I go on tour. Most people don't know that I am, in fact, actually Jonathan Davis. Yeah, that's true. That's an old joke, but it still checks out. Anyway, so James Lindsay, who's a mathematician, and strangely enough is no longer really working in academia and instead is touring around and spooking the shit out of easily scared Midwest white families. He went on Dr. Phil to address the panel that had been talking about critical race theory. So here's his appearance.
If I could wave a magic wand, critical race theory should be rendered a historical...
Oh, that sounds like shit. I think this is somebody's like screen recording of it, and that's why it's kind of a pain in the ass. This maybe will help with the copyright thing. We were trying to watch some Dr. Phil clips on when I was restreaming earlier on YouTube and Twitch, and the YouTube stream just went and totally shat its pants. So let's see if I can actually crank this up a bit.
If I could wave a magic wand, critical race theory should be rendered a historical artifact.
If I could wave a magic wand, critical race theory would be a historical artifact.
Please welcome co-author of book Cynical Theories, James Lindsay. James, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Dr. Phil.
Thanks, Dr. Phil. Look, I try really hard not to bully anybody for their appearance. I really, really try hard not to. I have a very hard time with James Lindsay. Like, he always looks like he's crying. Always. And, like, I don't believe in, like, shaming people for looking weird or goofy. Like, I've looked really weird and goofy in the past. But the way that this guy talks and, like, the amount of bullshit that comes out of his mouth, I don't feel bad about saying, like, your choice in how you groom your beard is bad because it makes it look like you have old man balls for a chin. And why do you always look like you're crying? Why? Why? I don't understand. It's very, very strange. Is that a person or a hairy thumb? I don't know. Like, if he grew the beard out a little bit, look, as somebody who knows all about the chin falling, right? Like, it's starting to fall a little bit. It happens. You get old, you know? Grow the beard out just a little bit. Get your chin back, you know? Anyway, people who are pro James Lindsay and watching this video later on YouTube are going to be like, you're just attacking his appearance. Yeah.
Dr. Phil.
Thanks,
Dr.
Dr.
This
Phil.
should be an artifact. We should just put this behind us.
I do not believe the critical race theory tenet that says that racism is the ordinary state of affairs in our society, and if we don't dredge up a race consciousness, that we can't get over it.
Okay. So let's actually try and address as much as we can before this dude goes completely bananas, and he does.
I believe the critical race theory tenet that says that racism is the ordinary state of affairs in our society, and if
It's not a critical race theory tenet that racism is the ordinary de facto method in our society. It's just pointing out whether or not there are systems of actual racism and oppression. That's all it does. It's a lens of looking at it. That's it. You don't have to agree with it, but it's just one possible way to examine it. That's all it is.
if we don't dredge up a race consciousness, that we can't get over it. I think this is actually a lie. It's very annoying to me to listen to the back and forth here. In fact, I'm glad to be here to bring some knowledge. I take a lot of umbrage with the idea that we're going to...
It's interesting that he starts out with like, I'm very annoyed by your entire show that just happened, and I'm going to bring some knowledge, implying that every single thing that they have just done on the show was obnoxious and bad and stupid. And so he's going to bring some knowledge. And the knowledge he brings is so incredibly insufferable. It's so annoying.
To talk about should we have critical race theory, this or that, because it's talking about racism or history, when the fact of the matter is it's not are we, it's how are we. And I am shocked and appalled to hear the defensive side for critical race theory misrepresented this way, but they don't explain, for example, why the first paper called Toward a Critical Race Theory of Education by Gloria Lads and Billings was published in 1995. They don't explain why Richard Delgado's 2001 book explains on page 5, for example, that it rapidly spread from law to other disciplines, especially education.
All of these people are like, what in the fuck are you doing? Like, his knowledge is like, so there was a paper that was written back in 1995. Okay, what about it? But he doesn't say anything further about it. He goes, and then there's this book that was published in 2001, and on page 5, it said, who the fuck cares? Who the fuck gives a shit about, like, that's not countering anything. That's like, hey, there was stuff that said things, and what did they say? I'm not going to tell you, but let's just, I'm giving you knowledge. I know, the smirks are fucking great, dude. Like, this fucking guy. This fucking guy.
They don't explain also in the exact same situation that Gloria Ladson Billings is one of the chief authors of a ed equity in Virginia that's bringing critical race theory in.
Yeah, Phil's trying to raise his hand on his own show like, excuse me. Excuse me. And this dude's like, why the fuck am I here? She's like, aren't you peppy? Okay.
Equity in Virginia that's bringing critical race theory into all of the state schools of Virginia right now.
You must breathe through your ears because you...
Amazing. Like, the thing that's so interesting about this, too, is James Lindsay has no self-awareness. Zero fucking self-awareness. All of these people just came on and had an earnest conversation about this. And then he comes on and basically calls everybody stupid and starts basically trying to explain to them deep bionicle lore, okay? Like, that's and this is a Gish gallop. This is legitimately what a fucking Gish gallop is. Talk super fast, bring up many, many points so none of it can actually get addressed. None of it. It's 100% just a fucking massive, obnoxious fucking Gish gallop. And the thing is, the demeanor of James Lindsay is it's like a kid in middle school who feels like he's the smartest motherfucker in class, and he's trying to explain everything to everybody, including the teacher, and everybody can smell that he is shit in his pants. This is that energy. This is my pants are full of shit and I'm super fucking smart energy. Holy shit, dude.
I have read the vast majority of the major works in critical race theory that have been published since 1970 to the most recent things, including, for example, in 2017, we have Allison Bailey writing a paper for Hypatia.
Wow, he said that he has read most things for critical race theory. Wow, okay, what about it? Here, I want to see if he makes any actual points.
To the most recent things, including, for example, in 2017, we have Allison Bailey writing a paper for Hypatia, an education paper, and she says that there's the critical thinking tradition, but what we're doing in critical pedagogy, which critical race theory is an integrated part of, is from a different set of tradition called critical theory, which is
He has literally said fucking nothing. Literally said fucking nothing. He has not addressed any issues with critical race theory. He has brought up absolutely no points. But here he's gonna tie it all into Marxism. Check this out.
Which critical race theory is an integrated part of, is from a different set of tradition called critical theory, which is Neo-Marxism, which is interested in studying the relationships of power rather than epistemic adequacy. You can look the paper up. It's called Tracking Privilege Preserving Epistemic Pushback in Critical Race and Feminist Philosophy Classrooms.
The face of a man who thinks he's made an excellent point and said fucking nothing. Now, he does kind of say something that we can kind of talk about.
Which is Neo-Marxism, which is interested in studying the relationships of power rather than epistemic adequacy. You can look
Right. So that's the basic idea behind critical theory, is analyzing power structures and the interactions of those power structures. And he's saying that rather than they do that instead of...
Which is Neo-Marxism, which is interested in studying the relationships of power rather than epistemic adequacy.
Epistemic adequacy. Epistemic adequacy. What the fuck? That is a very fascinating grouping of words. Epistemic adequacy. I wonder if that's even like a fucking thing outside of maybe like his own talking points. Epistemological adequacy. Formalisms for representing facts about the world have to be adequate for representing the information actually available. A formalism that represents the state of the world by the positions and velocities of molecules is adequate if the system can observe positions and velocities. What? Okay, that doesn't have anything to do with race. Wow, okay. Formulas to represent facts about the world had to be adequate for representing the information actually available. So I guess in this way, if okay, they do have a philosophical way of understanding it. Epistemic value is a kind of value which attaches to cognitive successes such as true beliefs, justified beliefs, knowledge, and understanding. These kinds of cognitive successes do, of course, often have practical value. True beliefs about local geography help us get to work on time. Knowledge of mechanics allows us to build vehicles. Understanding of general annual weather patterns. This is bootstraps. This is just bootstraps. And the idea of like gaining knowledge and gaining skills and putting forth effort directly translates, no matter what, to positive outcomes. It's bootstraps. It's just a fucking fancy way of saying bootstraps. Which, if you ignore that there's any possible factor in society that might be fucking you over, then sure, that might make sense. But that's exactly what critical theory is supposed to do, is to analyze if there are things... power structures, things in the world that might prevent you from being able to have an appropriate and adequate reward for what you do. That's it. That's it. That's the whole fucking thing. It doesn't go any further than that. And when you have critical race theory, it's the same thing, but examining whether or not people of different racialized groups might have less chances or more chances. It's just a lens to look at it. Whether you agree with it or not, that's all it is. That's it. So he doesn't want people to look at the possibility that there might be things in society that we could improve on to make it so the epistemic value is a possible... epistemic adequacy is a possible way to examine the world because it's teaching white kids to feel bad about themselves, which I don't think is true. 100% fan of boots and straps, but not bootstraps. Yeah, sure. Fuck yeah, absolutely. It's so fucking crazy. Anyway, let's finish this clip.
You can look the paper up. It's called Tracking Privilege Preserving Epistemic Pushback in Critical Race and Feminist Philosophy Classrooms.
That's not being taught in K-12 schools. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Is this episode was to talk about whether critical race theory was being taught in kindergarten through 12th grade classes, and he just goes fucking bananas, and like this whole segment is wrapped up with just her basic response.
In feminist philosophy classrooms.
That's not being taught in K-12 schools. Sorry. It just ended. I mean, congratulations. Like I'm trying to get my sister's career as much as you do.
So I don't know whether or not there's more to his appearance, but I have rarely seen somebody be that smarmy and that insufferable on Dr. Phil. Do not shame me for my incredible amounts of tabs open, but we can go to Conceptual James Lindsay's Twitter here, and the way in which he's been gassing himself up over this. Oh man, he's flooded his goddamn Twitter with a bunch of shit. Holy fuck. I just saw the video of Conceptual James looking like a loser on Dr. Phil, and that's exactly what I thought Conceptual James would look and sound like. Nice. Nice. Imagine Dr. Phil being the first time you saw or heard me when you knew who I am already. There are literally videos of me online, a remarkable proportion of which are not porn. That doesn't mean anything, James. Just because you're obnoxious and insufferable on fucking Twitter doesn't mean people are going to actually look you up. For somebody to be compelled to do so, you might need to be interesting. I don't know. I don't know. What is this? Oh yeah, this is him with a sword. Oh no, this is his axe. He had this thing for a while that he was like constantly posting like videos of him doing weird weapons training and shit. And this is Star Wars kid. This is 100% fucking the Star Wars kid with the fucking mop. They think this is embarrassing. It is. I'm sorry, but it is. There was another one where he like... I don't know if I really want to be fucking scrolling through all of his goddamn Twitter to try and find it. But in one of them, like somebody was asking, like, what did people think of his appearance on Dr. Phil? And he legitimately said, I think he might be a sex symbol or some shit like that. It's pretty wild. Here, let's at least get his sword. Let's get his sword dancing. That is an absolutely massive Dow. I do not understand why he has a Dow that is that fucking big. What the fuck, this dude? Oh man, yeah. Yeah, very much not compensating. Yeah. I don't understand why it's so fucking big. Like the regular Chinese broadsword Dao is... Oh, and here's some more. So, like, look... Here's the thing. I used to do fire dancing. I did fire dancing for a really, really fucking long-ass time. And I have no problem with, like, people who just want to fuck around and, like, spin stuff. And, like, you know, it's cool. That's fine. Like, pick up a fucking broom and you know, pretend it's a fucking staff and shit. Or whatever. Like, it's fine. It's cool. I give you permission to be as much of a nerd as you want because I have been that nerd, and I still have like my old fire dancing shit. I'll still fucking do it every now and then just for fun. But the thing is, oh, can I still do it? Oh yeah, dude, I could spin the shit out of staff and double staff. I like double staff the best though. Like that shit's fucking flip. Lots of tosses. I really enjoyed that. But when you have like this oversized fucking weapon, and none of this is actually like martial arts forms, like this, how are you going to combat the hordes of ninja with your slow, purposeful stalking? It looks like he's about to try and decapitate a slug or some shit, you know? What the fuck, dude? Hiya! Anyway, The main thing that I wanted to come across to get across when I was talking about this and bringing up his incredible slack foo is that the absolute lack of substance in James Lindsay's martial arts training and even his nerd sword flipping is about on par to the absolute hollow and numbskull fucking bullshit that he tries to bring when he talks about highly academic subjects and push propaganda on Dr. Phil. And everybody on Dr. Phil thought he was a loser, and anybody who is not currently huffing the shit gas out of his bloated butt is going to think he looks like a fucking loser too. Because he's a loser and he's a piece of shit and he lies. So, fuck you, James Lindsay.